Hi, and welcome to Four Reels. I'm Eb.
And I'm Amy.
And this is the show where we talk about movies, all kinds of movies. Movies that are in theaters, movies that we love.
Movies that are on streaming.
Yeah.
This week we got a good little...
We've got a good list of things to talk about.
A cornucopia, because it is the holidays coming up, so we'll make it Thanksgiving themed. But we have a good array of mixture.
Of movies.
We got The Babysitter.
The Babysitter, which is streaming on Netflix. Geostorm.
Geostorm, the epic movie Geostorm. We have Daddy's Home 2. And we both decided to pick one of our favorite Thanksgiving-themed movies. So we will reveal those when we get there.
So come along. Let's talk some movies.
Welcome to Four Reels. All right, so the first movie we're going to talk about today is The Babysitter. It's streaming on Netflix. It involves Cole, who is this young child-ish that has a babysitter named B, who is amazing, gorgeous, and everything that he is not. And then he witnesses something when she's babysitting him, and shenanigans ensue. Eb, we're talking about The Babysitter. Mm-hmm. You've seen it.
I have seen it. You know, the thing that I love about streaming services is that sometimes you'll find something that's on there and it will catch your eye and you're like, all right, maybe I'll give this a try.
Right.
And this was one of those movies for me. I put it on and then, I gave it about 10 minutes and I was like, all right, I can watch this. And I'm very happy that I did.
I was so excited within the first 5 minutes of this movie about how it was made. It was really a throwback to the old silly, campy horror movies of the 80s or the
very much so. The director, McG, did a very good job in making this thing very poppy. It's very fun.
Yeah.
Like, the graphics that they add to the screen sometimes made me laugh out loud.
It felt like elements of Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, it kind of definitely has kind of a Scott Pilgrim type feel to it. But I just thought that this movie was very fun. It has all the setups in the beginning, and then all the setups pay off in the end.
Yeah,
and
what I really also another point about this movie that I loved was they're in over the top predicaments. Yeah. But these actors were really good. I found myself Googling their names the whole time, because at home you can be on your phone at the same time. And Bella Thorne, she could be whatever people want to say she is on Instagram, but that girl knows how to act. I mean,
she was the cheerleader, correct?
Yes.
Her
part was hilarious. And that lead girl,
Samara Weaving.
Fantastic. Why? How can you be that pretty and good at acting? It's not fair.
I know. Well, and she basically just made me want her to be my babysitter. I wish I had a babysitter. Well, everybody wished that they would have a babysitter that's that cute. But she was awesome. She's a big dork.
But she's also absolutely psycho.
That too.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
But that's part of the fun of the film.
It is. So. And I loved how it came out right before Halloween. So that was what I did for Halloween is I just watched
The Babysitter.
Yeah.
Well, it was a great film to watch for that holiday season for Halloween.
So what would you give it on a scale of 1 to 4 reels?
I would probably give The Babysitter 3.5 reels. And the reason why is just because I thought that this movie was fun. It made me laugh continuously, and everything that it set up, it paid off 100%. Even to the point where when something happened at the very end, I went, "Oh yeah, that!"
Yes, it all comes
so much.
back around.
And so when a film does that for me, I just really like it. And I went to other people right after I saw it and was like, "Go watch it because you'll laugh and have a good time."
It's on Netflix. It's so easy. I am going to agree with you because, I mean, it's hard to get 4 reels. Let's just say this movie was a 3.5 for me.
Nice.
The coloring, the lighting, the acting, the story, the humor, the seriousness, doing the humor. I think 3.5, and I definitely recommend it. Not for the kids,
Yeah, this is definitely not a show for kids. This is maybe for teenagers and above, depending on how strict you are with your teenagers. But I personally,
I would say
high school.
I would say in their 20s. Maybe.
In their 20s?
But maybe I'm a prude.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's really good.
It was really great. Did you have a favorite part?
I don't want to give it away.
Oh, okay. That's fine. So, The Babysitter, check it out.
Go watch it, because it's still out there. You could still,
Oh, yeah, it's always out there. It's
this
just on
one
Netflix.
in particular, I don't want to give anything away.
Okay.
Just because I think it adds when you don't know what you're going to expect.
Okay, I respect that. So,
All right.
all right, check out The Babysitter. Let us know. Tweet us at
FOURREELZ TV.
Yeah.
And let us know what you think. And if you have any suggestions on other movies or genres or actors you want us to, review movies that they're in, let us know. And we might feature you on the show.
Yeah. In the not so distant future, when the world's climate is starting to get out of control, the world comes together and creates a satellite system where they can control the weather. But all things go awry when somebody takes control of those satellites, and that is the premise of the movie Geostorm, which we're going to be reviewing today. Now, Geostorm is one of those end-of-world type films like Armageddon,
disaster movie.
Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah. It's got a star-studded cast.
Yes, Gerard Butler,
Ed
Jim
Harris,
Sturgis,
Abby Cornish. Yeah.
And this movie, for me, I had a hard time with it at times. It was a little bit far-fetched.
I often wondered, did this cast of characters know what they were signing up for, or did they get there and it was like totally new scripts, but they had to commit to it, and so they committed to the hardest,
Yes.
like extent.
Very, very true. The actors are very committed in this movie. The things that I found that kind of were a little bit of a detriment to this movie, if you look back at other films that are like this, it really counts on having a good ensemble cast.
Yes.
And this movie kind of tried to get at that, but the characters weren't as well established as they would, so you didn't care about them as much.
Yeah. There was times in the movie where, because the acting is, I feel so stupid saying this, but it's really, they committed. And if you're committing that hard, like where you have tears and I'm believing you in this ridiculous environment, my hat goes off to you. I don't know how you would do it. I couldn't. I thought, well, maybe it's the title. Maybe if we switch the title and call it Dutch Boy.
Dutch Boy. I had a hard time that they called the satellite system Dutch Boy, and it was.
I had a hard time with
things with this movie.
And there was did you find that there was like these 10-minute intervals of dialogue between the brothers, and it was just monologue, like.
Just big chunks of just standing there and talking.
The movie was 2 hours long.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was very long for this type of movie. A movie like this should never be over 2 hours. It should be like a minute 30, minute 40 at tops.
Yeah.
And keep it moving, keep it poppy and fun. And this movie, well, it started off like, okay, like I was like, all right, this is this type of movie. They're starting up these characters and everything.
Yeah.
And then once it got into what this movie was really about, I just found it to be kind of just stupid and
it was
not
like less.
believable.
It was less. It was less about the disasters than it was about the monologues.
Oh yeah.
But then, oh gosh.
When the disaster started happening, that's when the movie kind of took the next step, and I was going, okay.
All right, so this is what I think I saw.
Okay.
There was, wherever a disaster struck, it was looped. So if it was like ice coming, there was people running from the beach and turning into ice. But if it was like a heat wave, there was people running and like catching on fire. Or
a lot of people running away from different weather events.
But it was like the same people.
And this was the other thing that I had a problem with this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, if you get the smallest car out there, it doesn't matter if it's just like a taxi or whatever,
right.
Just like one of those compact cars that can't really get over 60 on the highway.
Which,
you
let's
can
face it,
anything.
we both borderline drive one of those cars.
That's true. I do.
Yeah.
I have a Honda Fit.
But those are the ones that.
But literally, the scene that happened in Japan, the guy had one of those cars that can't get past. Yeah, a smart car. Mm-hmm. Can't get past 60 miles, and he's outrunning everything.
I'm just surprised he went down the way he did, because I mean, you escaped how many tragedies? Mm-hmm. Japan was falling on top of China. He was in China. It was falling on top of him, and he got out. He managed to run free with the smart car.
Yeah.
That's
the problem I had with this movie. I mean, I can allow myself to get things a little bit far-fetched if it's grounded really good in reality, and I can believe it.
You can go there.
I can go there, but with this movie, I had a hard time with it, and it got to the point where it was almost comical how bad it was in the end. For me, if I had to give this thing a rating from 1 to 4 reels, I would give it maybe a reel, half reel. No, I'll give it a reel, because I do really like Gerard Butler. He's always fun and entertaining and does a good job. I don't know if I necessarily see him as a scientist, but
I felt like he was more of like the rogue scientist.
Yeah,
if I had to give it a reel, I would also give it 1 because of the actors.
Mm-hmm.
God bless you.
I will say my 1 is for Ed Harris. I love
and
Ed
the
Harris
child.
and everything. Yeah.
And the child. The little girl.
Oh, the little girl did a good
Granted,
job.
the kid has to cry the whole movie, but she did a great job, and I can't wait to see what she does in the future.
So, what would you give it?
1 reel
1 reel.
for the actors.
All right. Well,
And because you should go see it, or wait till it comes home and see it, because
I'd
it's
maybe
silly.
say Redbox it or rent it later on. It's probably not going to be out in theaters too much longer, just because there's going to be a huge movie push here, and
Yeah.
there's going to be tons of things coming out for the holiday season.
Yeah.
So if you want to see, if you enjoy these types of movies, then by all means go to it.
Yeah, don't take our advice.
Yeah, but I personally thought that this movie just took it one step too far, and then
I went and
became
saw it
stupid.
because Movie Pass. If I didn't have that,
Yes.
I would not have gone seeing the movie. I
Yeah.
would wait till I got home. I wouldn't spend my money because movies can be expensive.
They can.
Thank you, Movie Pass. All right, 1 reel each. All right, so as promised, we just got back from seeing Daddy's Home 2.
Starring Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg,
John
Mel
Lith-
Gibson, and John Lithgow.
Yeah. Had you seen Daddy's Home 1?
I actually did not see Daddy's Home yet.
I
haven't
did not
seen the
either.
first one.
So-
Interesting. So you hadn't seen the original either.
Right. I just imagined what it was as I was watching it, but so it is a stand. It can stand alone.
Oh yeah, it definitely stands alone. I
Yeah.
mean, you kind of get the premise of it just from the trailer itself. So
Yeah. Don't take the kids. It's not a family movie, even though there's kids in it.
yeah,
There's children getting drunk and there's children swearing in it.
It
Just
can
saying.
get a little bit racy. So if you're a little
It
bit
didn't
more,
bother me.
It didn't
I think
bother
it's
me.
funny.
I, as a kid, I probably would. It would have been a movie that my parents took me to.
Right.
But that's
Absolutely.
my family.
But some people, just so you know, it's not like
It's not a very it's not all clean cut.
exactly. Yeah. I think that little girl did a great job being wasted.
Yeah, shit, for a little girl acting drunk, she did.
She was
superb.
good. Okay, so what are your thoughts on this movie?
I like this movie. At times, I felt like the humor was trying to get bashed into me a little bit, like
Yeah.
it was being force fed to me, and that was a little bit troubling at times. But then somebody that's a genius like John Lithgow would come on screen,
Oh my
and
gosh.
then it would the tone of it would change, and it was incredible.
Yeah,
and
I like more of that old school comedy, character driven,
Mm-hmm.
rather than the whole. It's okay to have a little bit of no, I'm falling off of a roof, kind of slapsticky stuff, but
Yes.
not 10 minutes long.
And the other thing that this movie is based in a real world. You're supposed to think of these people as your next door neighbors or
Right.
anything like that. And when you start doing big elaborate stunts, and that it's obviously computer generated and
Yeah.
everything, it just takes me out of the film, because it's not supposed to be that type of film.
Yeah.
If they had done some of those things with actual props and made it look more real rather than it being computer generated,
Right.
I probably would have.
Yeah, I just
Enjoyed
think
it
no
more.
one will ever be able to beat Clark Griswold's Christmas.
Yes,
And
and
I'll
I felt
always-
like they were, in a lot of ways, they were trying to replicate that
Right.
movie, particularly.
Which is great. We do need those movies. We need them again. We need these Christmas, movies like that are funny. But this one just a little bit too in a different direction.
It almost
too much.
it was trying too hard
Yes.
at times. For me, I Will Ferrell is always hit or miss for me.
Me too.
Sometimes I really, really love him and I think he's really funny, and other times I find him just to be really, really annoying.
Right.
And this movie was a little bit more on the annoying side.
Was
there were
it?
a couple of times that I was like, okay, I really like that, and it was really funny. Mark Wahlberg was kind of just one note,
But he was Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, he was Mark Wahlberg.
He's
So-
I'm from Boston, so it's
But
I get it. He reminds me of my brother-in-law too.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah,
think he's
I
great.
like him too, but it just seemed like his performance in this was just kind of the same old, same old. For
John
me-
Cena was kind of one note. To
Yeah,
me.
John Cena was one note too. Really the highlights for this movie were the grandparents. It
The
was
grandparents coming in.
John Lithgow and
Mel Gibson did a phenomenal job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's interesting to see him on screen again. We won't get into that, but I thought it was a good.
Perfect people to bring in to play their dads. Yeah. They played their parts perfectly, and what was so great about them is that they seemed to do it effortlessly.
Exactly.
They were just there, and they were their characters, and that funny.
Which brings me to that this is the parallel of, it was very parallel of Bad Moms 2, the Christmas one.
Yes.
Because the moms came in and then you cared about, it was interesting because they're so weird. If I had to choose between one of the two, I would say Bad Moms 2 wins this round.
You know what? I would actually agree with you.
Yeah.
I would, if I had to choose between one of these two movies to watch for Christmas, I would probably go with Bad Moms 2. I just felt that it was a more well-rounded movie. It had a little bit more heart to it.
The characters were solid, like.
And I didn't have things happening in that where I was like, okay, that's just stupid and fake.
Right.
So.
But I mean, a lot of like male movies with like a lot of bunch of guys in it, it tends to lean towards the fart jokes and the. Not that this didn't have many fart jokes. Maybe a couple.
Yeah, make a couple.
TT. You have to make TT.
Let's make TT.
There was funny moments. There was great moments.
Oh, there were many times
It's not
that I
a
did
bad
laugh
movie.
in this film. It just that sometimes it felt like it was too forced.
Yes, and I'll totally agree with you. Did you notice at the end, the two dads were going to Vegas, and that's how Bad Moms 2 ended. So I'm curious to see if in the future they come up with like these parents meeting each other in Vegas, and then it's like,
crazy.
and then the whole thing comes together. It's some weird, crazy
Crossover.
Yeah.
Look into it.
Look into it. What do you think? Out of Daddy's Home 2 or Bad Moms 2, which would you pick?
I take Bad Moms 2 over Daddy's Home 2.
I would too. Tweet us
How
back
many
on
reels
home.
would you give it?
I would give it Daddy's Home 2. I'd give it 2 reels.
You know what? I was gonna give it the exact same.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think that this movie was bad by any means. I just felt like at times they were trying a bit too hard.
Right.
And
In its defense, it does have Christmas. It gets you into the spirit. It's comedy. It's not horrible. It's not.
It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst.
Exactly.
So
2 reels from me too.
cool. So let us know what you thought.
Yeah.
Send us a tweet to
At FOURREELZ02 and let
Our
us know.
Instagrams
Yeah,
as well.
Instagram us as the same, and you can email us as well at Gmail. FOURREELZ TV. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to see in the future. Maybe you want to come on and be a guest and do a 60-minute review of yourself. Give us a jingle and let us know.
Yeah. With Thanksgiving around the corner, me and Amy wanted to talk about our favorite Thanksgiving movie. Now, Thanksgiving isn't as big of a holiday as Christmas is, so there aren't as many Thanksgiving movies out there. In fact, we were just talking about how many times it just happens to be a movie that just so happens to take place during Thanksgiving. So, my favorite Thanksgiving movie is Son-in-Law, starring Pauly Shore. Now, I know what you're thinking. Pauly Shore.
We's in the juice.
Exactly. But this is Pauly Shore at his best. By far, I think that this is his best film, even better than Encino Man.
Really?
Oh, yes. Because this movie has a lot more heart to it. It's sweet. It's endearing. If you haven't seen it, I would totally recommend it. Basically, what happens is that a young country gal is going to California to start her new life in college. And when she gets out there, she doesn't really like it that much until she meets Crawl. Pauly Shore.
Crawl.
Is
It's
his
all
name?
coming
Yeah,
back to me now.
And so they become really good friends, and he helps her break out of her shell. And when she's going home for Thanksgiving, she invites him to come back. Now, when she goes back, she suspects that her boyfriend's going to propose to her, so she asks for her friend's help, and he comes up with the idea in the spur of the moment that they're actually engaged, and so he is now their new son-in-law, and it's Pauly Shore, so of course the family is going nuts.
Right,
But
mortified.
once the family embraces him, everybody falls in love with this kid, and there's so many hijinks and so many great lines in this movie. It is...
A tug at the heartstrings.
Oh, it is one of my favorite films to watch during Thanksgiving.
Now,
It
does
is
she
so
end up
funny.
actually falling for him at the end?
I don't want to give it away. You guys got to watch it. So, my movie for Thanksgiving is high and above Son-in-Law. I love this movie. We watched it in Thanksgiving. It is a great one. So,
All right.
what about you, Amy?
So, for my choice of Thanksgiving movie, it is a movie that is directed by Jodie Foster. It stars Holly Hunter and Bancroft, Charles Durning, a young Robert Downey Jr., Claire Danes. Did I say that? Okay, so this Holly Hunter's character, I love this movie, you guys. She loses her job, in the big city. Her daughter's a teenager now and wants to spend her first Thanksgiving with her boyfriend's family, and she's a single mom. She loses her job. She ends up making out with her boss, and like just complicated, and has to go home for Thanksgiving now, and doesn't want to. And she goes home. Anne Bancroft is her crazy, insane mother. The best part, and it's Charles Durning, right? Mm-hmm. These characters in this film are so detailed and so just amazing. Like her sister is hateable. I love how the sister, it said it. She's in the background. There's the crazy aunt. Like, you have each character that gets, like, introduced. I loved this movie. I loved it because Robert Downey Jr.'s character, he's gay. And it's kind of like one of those things where people know about it, they don't talk about it, he never comes home. And it's really a nice relationship between Holly Hunter and Robert Downey Jr. And you see that this family, when you go, like all families, you go inside and you go a little bit closer and see just how dysfunctional they are. And this is probably the most dysfunctional Thanksgiving. I love it. And you will too. I promise you.
I remember when this movie came out. I actually haven't ever seen it, which is surprising to me just because it has such an amazing cast to it. But I remember when it did come out, being interested in seeing it. So now I definitely have to try to find it somewhere. And
I had only recently discovered the amazingness of it.
Really?
Because I had never heard of it, and I was, talking with friends, like, what's your favorite holiday movie? Home for the Holidays. And now it's a staple for me. I mean, look how cute Claire Danes was. And Holly Hunter is insane.
Well, and I'll see anything with Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, me too.
Because he's fantastic.
He's great.
Everything that he does. So.
So this is definitely a character-driven movie. The whole family can see it. It's fine. And it gets you, it's not Christmas,
It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but you still get that home for the holidays, oh, this is going to go bad kind of vibe, and shenanigans ensue. It's perfect.
I will say one thing that I usually love about these types of movies is that it's so relatable when you see a family that you're like, oh, that's like my family. We're dysfunctional like that too. We argue like that too. And so It's always great to see movies that are like that. So I'll have to check this out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. You guys should check it out at home too. If you have a movie or a idea that you want us to review, or maybe we can choose you and you can come on into the studio and do a 60-second review of your own, or email one in. Maybe we'll air it on air. Regardless, follow us at FOURREELZ02 and FOURREELZTV@gmail.com.
Yeah.
As well. Thanks for watching, and we will be back next week with some
probably some superhero movies. We have Justice League coming out.
Oh, yeah,
soon.
lots of superheroes.
We've seen Thor, which we need to talk about.
Yes.
And I think that we might also go see Murder on the Orient Express.
Yes.
Which has a fantastic cast.
Lots of exciting movies ahead, and we will see you next time.
All right, have a good day, guys.